America is under siege. We must stop a radical Islamist takeover now. More on that in a moment. Welcome to Christy Lee's DC Dispatch. Back to business in DC today. We've got highlights from a press briefing that wrapped a little while ago, the latest in Trump's trade negotiations, and more on the financial persecution of Christians with a special guest. But first, I want to remind you, if you want to keep getting truth out of DC, then please support our efforts. You can do that by going to mypillow.com. And, Mike Lindell has been our fearless leader, and all his efforts are supported by this great American company that he founded. And he has been persecuted. He has been canceled. He's been blocked from the big box stores. So we're really counting on you to continue to support Mike Lindell, keep his business alive so he can do things like this. He can have truth coming out of DC with Lindell TV. And so get your favorites, get your sheets, get your pillow, get your beach towels while we still have summer. So many deals going on right now, 50% off of those beach towels. These towels are great. They're super absorbent. It's like the ickiest feeling in the world when you have a cheap towel and you're trying to dry off and you feel like sticky because it's like not actually absorbing. So you can count on feeling nice and fresh and clean with his offerings there with the towels in particular. So again, mypillow.com, use promo code KL at mypillow.com. We really appreciate your support. So I do have some sad news that I am starting with before I get into the other stuff today. I don't know if you happen to hear this yet or not, but Kamala, she announced she's not going to run for California. I bet you're so sad about that, right? According to CNN, the governor is saying she's taking time to reflect after that tough 2024 loss. But will she be reflecting on another go at running for president? Some Democrats see her as a 2028 contender if she rebuilds her image, according to The Guardian. This is a woman that had full-on legacy media support, Hollywood stars pushing her. How is she not able to build an image for herself with all of that going? She had 60 Minutes and others editing her interviews, all of that, and she wasn't able to have a good image. How's she going to rebuild it now with all of that backing? That's according to The Guardian. But yes, please do, Kamala. The only chance she would have at winning is if our elections aren't secured properly. So this needs to remain a top priority. Again, another top priority of Mike Lindell, our leader here at Lindell TV, White House coverage. Now, the Trump administration has so much winning going on. The opposition's only card to play is this Epstein thing, this Epstein file fallout. But the DOJ just told a court that releasing more Jeffrey Epstein files would serve the public interest, opening the door to new details on his crimes. If you remember, Trump asked and Pam Bondi asked the courts to release these files, and it was the courts that were blocking it at that point. So DOJ is trying to make a case. This is in the public interest. They're pushing to unseal docs despite the past secrecy, especially after that Ghislaine Maxwell meeting that they had last week. Now on to Obamagate, the bigger scandal that we should be talking more about. After we revealed a top NSA lawyer's Russia hoax connections right here on Lindell TV, we have an update for you.
You're fired. 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 You're fired.
You're fired. You're fired. Donald says it best, so have to let him say it. April Falcon Doss, she's fired. She was a top NSA lawyer with a history of targeting Trump in that Russia hoax probe. The Daily Wire exposed her anti-Trump past. They say she was hiding her 2022 hire from Congress, and now her bio is gone from the NSA site. Yes, drain that swamp. And now there's even more Russia hoax discoveries. Election Wizard reporting Trump administration declassifies Durham Annex, which was discovered in burn bags inside a secret room. Documents prove Hillary Clinton conspired with Obama's FBI to fabricate the Russia collusion. So what exactly are burn bags? Well, here is DNI Director Tulsi Gabbard with how serious and self-incriminating this is.
What's a burn bag?
A burn bag is something that you'll find in many offices throughout the intelligence community. throughout, these different workspaces in national security. Basically, if I have a document that's highly classified, I read it, I review it, I'm done with it. My copy can then go in the burn bag to make sure that it's not doesn't end up in the wrong hands, that there's not an unauthorized disclosure of classified information. It's a very different story, however, if you use a burn bag to try to get rid of evidence of which maybe there is only one copy of, and then hide it in a secret room in the FBI. That is a tactic, obviously, that has been used by those deep staters, these bad actors within the intelligence community to try to get rid of evidence.
So again, this is damning classified annex from John Durham's report that just got released, revealing a Clinton campaign plan to spread fake intel linking Trump to Russia back in 2016. Wild stuff. They wanted this evidence destroyed. Now, despite legacy media trying to downplay all this, a new survey shows most Americans think the Russia hoax was a serious deal, with 68% believing it was a political hit job on Trump. But only 22% expect anyone to face consequences. Pretty telling there. Commentator Brian Jundeff says this shows a public fed up with the lack of accountability, especially with that new Durham annex drop. Wow. A mix of outrage and cynicism. That's just how I describe our White House correspondent. A mix of outrage and cynicism. Allison Steinberg, she is live in DC with the latest on what's going on there. I just want to, before we dive in, Allison, draw attention to the fact I'm wearing denim. Some people might call it jeans, a jeans outfit. So wink, wink, because apparently I'm sending a signal by wearing, I had to wear the denim.
That is very white Nazi propaganda-ish of you, Christy. I can't believe that you have the audacity to do such a thing.
I know, right? Sending signals, apparently.
The liberals are going to hate you extra today, that's for sure.
Extra, okay.
That's a win. It's been a busy day here at the White House. There's a press briefing. I will note before we get into it that we had to run inside because it started thundering, pouring, crazy rain here in this insane swamp. So our whole setup outside just had to get very rushed, moved inside. So here we are inside. The briefing just took place here on the stage right behind me, as you can see. It was a jam-packed briefing as per usual. Caroline Leavitt started off the briefing today talking about Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Ambassador Huckabee, who had a very productive meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other officials in Israel today. It sounds like they're going to be delivering some much-needed food and aid over to Gazans, so that is currently in the works. Caroline Leavitt touched on the president, saying that he has a big heart, and that's why he sent Special Envoy Witkoff to the region in an effort to save lives. So that is what they are working on over there. Of course, Caroline Leavitt touched on the historic trade agreement with the EU, and double down on the fact that the tariff deadline is tonight, 12 p.m. Eastern, midnight. That is when the August 1st deadline is implemented. So we're still waiting to hear from other countries as to whether or not they're going to come to the table with these deals. As we know, President Trump just secured a deal with South Korea, and he's talking about Mexico now. He had a call earlier today with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. It sounds like they're working out a deal. President Trump has now agreed to give them an extension on their deadline because I guess that deal is a bit more complex, a lot more to that than some of these other countries. So still waiting to hear from Canada and India. Those are two of the main ones. But just a reminder for everyone, the tariffs have been an incredible improvement for our country. I mean, all of the so-called financial experts said that it was going to send the country into a recession. Here we are in the summer months when they said the recession was going to hit, and we've now brought in $150 billion from tariff revenue. So it's been very successful, and I think the wealth and prosperity for the country will continue as more countries come to the table and make a deal here. In other news, Caroline Leavitt read today a letter from the president that was made out to the CEOs of all of the 17 major pharmaceutical companies. He is now demanding that they lower their price of drugs for Americans so we can get these prices down. Let's take a listen. This is a longer clip. You can cut it at any time once you get the picture here. But take a listen to the letter from President Trump, Caroline Leavitt read today in the briefing.
As you all know, the president signed an executive order earlier this year to solve the problem of exorbitant pharmaceutical pricing. According to recent data, the prices that Americans have been paying for brand name drugs are more than 3 times the price other similarly developed nations pay. The president is determined to solve this problem and took further action today. He has signed 17 letters to pharmaceutical companies' CEOs, and I would like to read you one of these letters to the CEO of Eli Lilly. All of these letters will be provided to you following this briefing. This is to the CEO of Eli Lilly from the President of the United States. On May 12, 2025, I signed an executive order delivering most favored nation prescription drug pricing to American patients to stop global freeloading and guarantee that Americans pay the same prices enjoyed by other developed nations. Right now, brand name drugs in the United States are up to 3 times higher on average than anywhere else for the identical medicines. This unacceptable burden on hardworking American families ends with my administration. Most proposals the Trump administration has received to resolve this critical issue promised more of the same, shifting blame and requesting policy changes that would result in billions of dollars in handouts to industry. Moving forward, the only thing I will accept from drug manufacturers is a commitment that provides American families immediate relief from the vastly inflated drug prices and an end to the free ride of American innovation by European and other developed nations. Accordingly, I'm calling on Eli Lilly.
Now, he's doing a great job taking a hard stance here, but like all I can think of when I'm hearing this is like, how about we actually follow through and move together as a country to where we aren't so dependent on these drugs, period. Like, forget about them being lower in cost. Let's move into a position where we don't have so many people that are dependent on all of these things. And it probably is because of all of the toxins everywhere that we have to, that are affecting so many different things, but that he really needs to allow MAHA to do its work so that we're not dependent on these drugs to begin with.
I'm totally with you, Chrissy. That was my first thought as well. If we really want to get healthy, why don't we actually go back to focusing on legalizing raw milk in all 50 states?
Exactly.
But because that is the true medicine, right? But, unfortunately, so many Americans are hooked on these prescription drugs, and that sadly in today's day and age is a very common situation for many people. So, I wish we could move away from that. I wish we could actually focus on returning to a healthy state for individuals to really prioritize eating correctly and exercising. I think that is number one. Sadly, though, it's just so many, the obesity rate has skyrocketed in just recent years. As you know, everyone's overweight. Everyone has some, medical issue. So, yeah, it's very sad. I guess if you got to be on the drugs, it's a good thing. Trump is trying to lower the prices. Like you said, he's taking a very hardline stance on this and is telling these drug companies that they need to come to the table and make a commitment by September 29th. And if they don't, then they are not going to like what they see. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully, in the meantime, though, Americans just focus on actually getting healthy and getting rid of all of the toxic, cocktails of drugs that so many of these doctors prescribe nowadays. It's very sad.
Yeah. Just a note on the tariffs being so successful. It's interesting, here we are again with not another rate cut. And Jerome Powell says in his statement that inflation is here, that there's prices up, and that's why he can't cut rates. And it's wild because that is obviously not what many of us are seeing. We are seeing prices stable or even less. And it's another reminder of how this whole system works, because I was flipping through, I always got to see what the enemies are talking about, right, Allison? I was flipping through mainstream news, and they're all on this talking point, well, hold on to your wallets. I know you're feeling the pain at the prices, and that's why we can't cut rates. They're able to take his statement as if it's current reality, and it's just another reminder of these prostitutes when we actually were in the worst of inflation, we're happy to say, oh, it's just a temporary, it's transitory. Like, they used all these buzzwords to downplay the actual crazy inflation. And now they're saying like, oh, these prices are so bad, like we are in inflation. And it's just like, wait a minute. Haven't the numbers been pretty actual stable? And aren't we bringing in a bunch of money? It's just wild.
It is wild. And by the way, I have to give you props on that. Prostitutes. That's hilarious. I've never heard that before somehow, but that is beautiful.
Make it a thing.
Yeah. They just lie at any given opportunity. It's just an outright lie. And the crazier thing is that people believe it. I talked to a guy the other day on one of our Man on the Street segments, and he was just convinced that everything was more expensive now. He said he couldn't,
well, yeah, things are more expensive now since Biden went in office. They haven't, like, it's hard to make things go down from such an exorbitant
but they have
rise.
though. Even, the price of eggs, gas, it's all going down steadily. But, when things are actually going down, they say they're going up. And when they're up, they say they're not. I mean, it's just all so backwards. And again, shocking that anyone buys into the continual lies when, we have the reality right in front of our faces. And it couldn't be further from what they're stating is true. But yes, it's very interesting. We also know too that the corruption runs so deep beyond just the Democrat lies. It's even in Congress, in the House and the Senate, many of these people with their insider trading. This was an issue that was brought up today in the briefing, which I was glad a question was asked about this, because Anna Paulina Luna has been talking about this. There's actually a bill that's actually moving through the Senate right now. Senator Josh Hawley introduced what is now being dubbed the Pelosi Act, which, could you think of a better name? I don't think so. This is a bill to ban congressional stock trading. But this is an interesting situation. He sided against the Republicans to get it through. Trump was sounding like he backed it and then sort of turned on him, but now he's demanding Pelosi be investigated for insider trading here. So I don't really know what's going on at the current moment with this. I guess that this new rule, if it is passed, it wouldn't apply to the current administration. And some are worried that this could potentially hinder people from wanting to serve in government. But Anna Paulina Luna has been very vocal about it. She says the House opposition, House leadership, rather, has been in extreme opposition to this. So lots of people are very against this. I wonder why. Probably because they're all participating in insider trading. And, if an average American citizen were to do such a thing, we would be thrown in jail. So I think the hypocrisy needs to end here. Here's a clip from Caroline Leavitt when asked about this issue today.
The reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70% in 1 year in 2024, and her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year, and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So I think the president stands with the American people on this. He doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process. As for the mechanics of the legislation and how it will move forward, the White House continues to be in discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill.
Amazing. I mean,
as
these
far
people
as the
literally go
argument
into
of like,
office.
oh, if you take this away, it might deter the motivation of people to serve. Well, good, because if you're deterring the wrong people away, if like part of your motivation to serve is to make bank, then sorry, we aren't interested. Those are going to be the very same people that are going to succumb to the demands of lobbyists. It's a huge problem in DC. So we need to start removing these motivations that are causing the destruction of our country.
I totally agree with you. It's, it's disgusting and shocking that this is even a conversation that needs to be had, that anyone would even go into serve the public with the sole, motive of improving their stock portfolio. I mean, that's so sick. It's so twisted, and you're exactly right. These are the very people who would succumb to the brutal lobbyists that don't have the country's best interests at heart. So yeah, it is highly disturbing. I think it needs to be stopped. I can't believe it's been allowed to go on this long, and I really hope that this one passes. It sounds like the president is in support of it, so we'll stay tuned to see what develops there. The last bit of news that we had from the briefing today was an announcement from Caroline Leavitt. The president will be signing an executive order later today. This again gets back to the Maha front. There's going to be some pro athletes that are going to be joining him for this. Let's take a listen to what she had to say with this.
The president will be signing an executive order at 4 o'clock today with some very famous professional athletes whom I'm sure you all know. And that executive order will be focused on strengthening athletics in our country and making America healthy again. And we are going to re-implement the presidential fitness test in America's schools, which is, I think, something all Americans can get behind.
Yeah, let's make logic great again. Right?
I mean, why did it ever go away? I don't know. Why do we need to waste critical time on this now? I don't really know. I guess it's a good thing it's happening, but, you know, there's a lot of other important issues, too. Again, legalizing raw milk in all 50 states, it's got to be a top priority. I need to see this making some headway here.
Yeah, and how about another major issue? How about we don't allow our country to be taken over by radical Islamists? That's another issue.
Yeah, that would be great. Unfortunately, I don't know. It seems like it's an issue we have to work quite hard against. As we know, there's so many of them infiltrated into our government, namely Ilhan Omar and squad members and all of the others that are on a lower level of the government that you don't really even hear about, but have somehow made their way into public service. I don't know. It is deeply concerning. You and I talked about this the other day, Christy, but I mean, it seems like there's a massive influx of the desire to have Islamists in our government, people who do not have the best interests of America in our government, namely Zohran Mamdani running for mayor in New York City. I mean, these are the people that are single-handedly trying to destroy the country and turn us into a communist dictatorship. And I think it's far past time we deal appropriately with them. I don't think they should be allowed to serve in government. So yeah, it is deeply disturbing. I know, Chrissy, you and I talked about an article that highlights how rapidly this is becoming a major issue. This is over in England and Wales. There has been a 23% rise in the name Muhammad, as it now takes the #1 spot for baby names for the second year in a row. So, I mean, if that doesn't just go to show what is going on here. I mean, I know this is England and Wales. They have a massive immigration problem over there. But this is ultimately the goal of the Democrats, right? They want to infiltrate the first world with the third world and all of their problems. And now we have Muhammad becoming the #1 name in places like England. It really is shocking.
I mean, and this is where we were headed as a country with the open border policy, because England and Wales have been bullied into to essentially being invaded by radical Islams, and now their #1 name is Muhammad. I mean, unbelievable, like total revolution over there, takeover. And I mean, this is where we were headed, and we're seeing signs of the damage done. You're not supposed to be able to talk about this. It's PC, like, oh, we have to be tolerant of other religion. What, like their religion is tolerant of Christians? I mean, Christians are being murdered and killed at the highest levels. I just did a whole segment on this the other day. At the highest levels, Christians are being murdered and killed in horrific ways, machetes. So why don't we hear like, oh, you should be more tolerant of Christians? So it doesn't go both ways. And this is some scary, scary stuff.
It is absolutely terrifying. It should concern every American citizen, really, because that is exactly, again, what the goal of the Democrats is to bring that here, and we are seeing that in real time. I mean, we talked about the story a couple days ago about the Muslim parents who tried to kill their daughter when she refused to go overseas to get into an arranged marriage with an older man. I mean, these people are brutal. There's another example of this. Muslims released, let me pull this article up here, Muslim sets wife on fire. They're setting wives on fire in front of children after an early prison release. I mean, this is sick. This is a mother of 6 who remains in an induced coma. This is in Belgium, but, you know, you get the idea. Nearly a month after her violent husband set her on fire in front of their children after he had been fired. Sorry, an ad just popped up. After he'd been freed, from prison months earlier due to overcrowding. So he was only let out from overcrowding. Tried to burn his wife to the ground, I guess. And that's just how they are. And that is how they will respond when they come to our country and expect us to accept them. And they, again, expect us to assimilate to them and their culture. And if we don't, then, you know, why not just set us on fire, right? What's to stop them? We've seen it time and time again.
Again, we talked about this the other day. If you don't like America, if you think we're infidels, if you think America is racist, you do not have to live here. Go away.
It really is that simple.
We are an established country. We had basic norms. We had a foundation of Judeo-Christian values. And we are happy to, and it's constitutionally approved to tolerate and we want freedom of speech. We want freedom of religion. But if you hate everything America stands for, if you are violent against everything America stands for, then get out. It's really that simple.
Please. And if you love the values of your country so much more, why not just go back to your country? Why are you trying to bring all that here and expecting us to accept that and conform to your way? It just makes no sense. So you can't have the best of both worlds. I'm sorry. If you don't want to do it right, if you don't want to come to America and, you know, act as an American citizen, can you imagine going to another country that doesn't speak English and then expecting everyone else to speak English because you want them to? I mean, it's just absurd. So this doesn't happen. This isn't how it works. If you want to come to America, you can, you know, do what needs to be done. Come here legally, please, and, you know, expect to
I have to
adopt
tell a little
American
story
culture.
here because you said that. Years ago, I went to this like very elitist conference. Remember, I was like a financial advisor, stockbroker, and they love having their little conferences. And so it was in Cabo San Lucas, and there was like a bus tour, and this lady was yelling at the bus driver because he didn't know English. And everyone was so disgusted and embarrassed by this woman because it's like, we are not in America. like how can you be yelling at someone because they don't know English?
That is so funny.
So, I mean, yeah, it is absurd. And that's why she looked so bad and why everyone was disgusted by it. But obviously the Trump administration is making this a priority to get the criminals out, to get people that want to harm America out. And now they're really ramping up their efforts. I know that you saw that DHS is now having some big incentives for people to join ICE.
Yeah, that's right. There are big incentives. And this is interesting. I'm going to highlight the incentives here, but I also heard from Tom Homan, I believe it was, that recruiting numbers are at a record high for ICE currently, because everyone wants to come and help catch the bad guys and get them out of here, which is great. I love that. I don't know if the recruitment numbers are high because of these incentives that we're about to outline here, but maybe this has something to do with it. I don't know. ICE is now offering a robust package of federal law enforcement incentives, which include a maximum of $50,000 signing bonus. That's pretty nice. Student loan repayment and forgiveness options, 25% law enforcement availability pay, LEAP pay for HSI special agents, administratively uncontrollable overtime, and enhanced retirement benefits. So that sounds like a pretty nice package for anyone that wants to, put their lives in danger and risk going out and hitting the streets at the, mercy of the crazy Democrats who are going to try to unmask you and, put your life and your family's life at risk. But, I think that's a nice package. So there's that.
But meanwhile, the Democrats are suing ICE.
Of course they are. They are suing ICE over a new policy. Let me just pull this up here that limits access. Oh, my computer's freezing up. It limits access to detention centers. So basically the Democrats are mad now that they can't go, harass ICE. They're saying these illegal actions have harmed each plaintiff's right as an individual member of Congress to conduct oversight and obtain information about DHS facilities and conditions of immigration detention. They're probably just trying to hinder ICE from being able to do their jobs. They're probably going there to harass them. These are people like Jamie Raskin and LaMonica McIver, you know, the typical names, Chris Van Hollen. These people don't want to let ICE do their job. In fact, they're doing everything to try to prevent that from happening. We also know that these same people over in Michigan, I might add, are trying to pass a bill that would make ICE agents face jail time if they wear a mask. So these people are doing everything to obstruct justice and get in the way of these brave law enforcement officers who are out trying to do their jobs, again, putting their lives and their families' lives at risk. We know that these people often get doxxed, and these Democrats make it their life mission to go after these great, brave men and women who are doing their job. So, yeah, it is disgusting and despicable, and I just can't even believe that they don't have anything better to focus on than trying to go after ICE agents. It's really quite sad.
Well, their focus is the whole circular thing. Like, if they have a lawsuit or if they have something that they know the news will cover, it can advance a narrative. They want ICE to look bad, so even if they don't have a solid reason for like suing them, they'll do it so it gets covered, so people are like, what are they hiding? It's just the game. It's the game they play. It's a game Pelosi, who we were talking about earlier, has literally talked about and laid out. But Allison, got to get to my next guest. Thank you so much for your coverage of the press briefing and the warning of keeping radical Islamists out. Yes. And yes, we will wear our denim and we will not be politically correct. Right, Allison?
Amen. I love it. Keep it up, Chrissy. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Coming up, he has millions of followers, a huge Christian evangelist sensation, loved by many, but that did not stop his bank from showing no love. No limbs, but no limits. Nick Vujicic shares his testimony and how he's trying to protect other Christians from getting debanked. That's what's next. Quick break, and we'll be back with him.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at nirvantahealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to nirvantahealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
Welcome back to DC Dispatch. For years, conservative Christians have seen major institutions, including banks, treat them differently because of their faith and political beliefs. This only, of course, accelerated under the Biden dictatorship. Earlier this year, Trump had a message for the big bankers at WEF.
By the way, speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Now, Nick Vujicic knows personally what it's like to face banking discrimination. In March of 2019, he was canceled for his Christian values well before cancel culture was even coined, after Nick was debanked by one of the largest banks in the U.S. with zero cause. He believes he was targeted as a conservative Christian with 16 million social media fans. He now serves as a co-founder and chief brand ambassador of Pro-Life FinTech, a cancel-proof banking option for Christians. Nick is a Christian evangelist and motivational speaker. Despite having no limbs, you can see there's no limits to his life of faith, speaking around the globe about his faith in Jesus and sharing the message of how God has a plan for every person. Thus far, he's been on 3,500 stages in 74 countries, reaching 2 billion people globally through digital and print mediums. Thank you so much, Nick, for coming on DC Dispatch.
Christy, thank you so much for having me here. Hello to everyone, and I'm glad to be part of this show where we're saying it straight, and it's wonderful to be here.
Excellent. Well, I'm so honored to have you. I know you've been on so many stages, but I was like, hey, I've met that guy in person before, and I don't expect you to remember, but you spoke in Toledo, Ohio at one point, and I emceed the event as a local news anchor there. And so I was like, oh, it'd be so great to see him again. So thank you again for being here. Really excited about this topic. Tell me about what led up to your debanking. I mean, it sounds like you were one of the first this happened to.
You know, we have heard of canceling kind of cases back in 2016 as well, with ammunition companies actually on target. But truly, as an influence on social media and as a speaker, I'd never heard of anybody be targeted the way that I had been. It was just something that we've never heard of, where your bank accounts get frozen, your credit cards, debit cards, credit line, and even the credit score overnight. Instead of having 3 different triple-digit numbers, I had 2 dashes, and then the only triple-digit number I had was, I don't know, like 200 points lower. And they refused to talk to me repeatedly on the phone, saying, we cannot talk to you. There's a letter coming. Went to the local branch that I'm friends with, and I said, hey, what's going on? And they called up HQ, and they said, oh, they can't talk to us, and we can't talk to you. All we can tell you, sir, is that there is a letter coming, and you have 5 minutes to leave the premise. And I was like, what is going on? And the letter basically said, no apology, dear customer. We reviewed who you are as our customer, and you have 30 days to get another bank. We don't want you. And if you do not find another bank successful in 30 days, we're going to take your cash. This is April 2019.
It's so wild and unbelievable that happened at such a hostile level, to be like, we can't talk to you, need to leave the premises. Like, you'd think that you were some horrible criminal. Have you to this day been able to figure out if there was like one particular thing you were vocal about, or was it just you as a person?
You know, it's interesting. I had a previous employee who kind of framed me publicly with a false accusation. And it really framed me in a viral gay magazine publication that I was anti-LGBTQ, and framed me as if I fired him for being gay, which was completely false. But that then trickled through in 2019, me being canceled out of corporate America speeches. ChatGPT frames me today as 10th largest speaker influencing platform in the world. And all of my gigs canceled later that year after that article. I had a spying drone over my home. We had a grenade rock up. We had the SWAT team, FBI, at my house. It was just really scary, to tell you the truth. Now, I'm a Christian, and I know where I go when I'm not here. But, you know, I have 4 children, and I've not gone out of my way to try and tell people why I don't believe their lifestyle is this or that. I'm a preacher. I'm a messenger of hope. I'm very much accepted by worldwide governments, and actually had advised 3 national governments about anti-suicide prevention programs for kids, and anti-bullying is what I'm trying to say, and prevention suicide programs for young people. And it was interesting. Fast forward now, though, to 2025, we are still hearing that there are large banks still at large canceling churches and freezing up some of their accounts. And this is no joke, even with the current administration. And so what we feel here is a movement of people who understand that when we are God's people, there's no word of conservative in the Bible. You're either a Christian or you're not a Christian. And this is not me trying to set out on a trumpet something new. This is just a reaction in the stewardship of pioneering a platform that I wish existed when I got canceled. And to now fast forward 2025, I'm not sure if you're aware of this in your viewers, there are currently 5 state legislatures that have passed bills that forbid banks anymore to cancel somebody without cause. And so we all understand that this is the signs of the times that we're living in persecution. And this is not trying to push back at people. It's saying, hey, if a private big company can cancel me, then we can gather the like-minded Christians to start making banking decisions that are aligned up with the Bible and honoring the Lord with his wealth, with our stewardship of decisions. And so we also found out, I'm not too sure if you know this, I'm sure some people do know by now, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, that was the first piece of public news that we've known privately for years, that large banks philanthropically, some of them actually fund in their giving to nonprofit organizations the abortion of babies. And organizations such as Planned Parenthood now being the biggest funder of hormone-altering drugs for minors in our country. And so if we understand the investment decisions, the banking decisions of really being on the defense now and now on the offense against the weaponization of the banking industry and wealth management industries, this is the tip of the spear of pioneering the answer for all of us who do want to live our life best in honoring the Lord, including our banking decision.
And this is so you, Nick, because you took what many would see as a bad situation, an attack on your finances, and you were able to turn that into something amazing and great and that will serve others. Christians that can not have to worry about their money being stolen or not having access to their money because of their beliefs. And so pro-life fintech is been put in position so that you can know that your money and access to it is safe, and you don't have to worry about your beliefs as being a determining factor. So I'm so impressed that yet again you did it, Nick. You took a bad situation and it turned it into something good. But I mean, that is a theme that we find in God's word so often, is he can take something, beauty for ashes. He can take something that seems sad or traumatic or, and he can make something beautiful out of it. So I just love that you're a part of this and that it's going to serve so many in feeling financially secure. That being said, I don't know how, but there are some viewers that may not have heard of you and what you do and your story. Obviously, it's called pro-life fintech. You're very passionate about life, and part of that being is that this love of this murderous love call, Planned Parenthood stuff, they would find someone like you as someone that this person would have too much of a struggle, like don't even go through with this pregnancy because, and then obviously you've done so many amazing things, and you're capable of so much. So tell me a little bit about that, like how you're a living example of that. Everyone has value.
Look, thank you so much. It's understanding that when the Bible says that God has a hope, plan, and a future, he means that. And some of us kind of get stuck in the yuck of trying to wonder, well, what is that plan? And let me tell you, when I was born, no one knew what I would be, what I'd be doing in my life. A lot of people came up to me when I was a kid and said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, well, I just want to be happy and I want to be thankful, but I don't think that's going to be possible. And so I actually went through dark times of depression and attempted suicide at age 10 and eventually gave my life to Jesus at age 15, realizing that God had a plan for a blind man, according to John chapter 9. And I said, God, if you got a plan for a blind man, then you got a plan for me. And that That's when we started Nick V Ministries. We're now celebrating our 20th celebration of our ministry, where I've actually now traveled 85 countries, 11 million people face to face, of which 1.8 million gave their life to Jesus after me preaching the gospel. I've met 35 presidents, know 6 current presidents right now. And it's all about understanding that what the enemy tried to use for bad, he can turn into good. And to know that he'll give you the strength to go through. And I just want you all to know that we all can make a difference. If God can use a man without arms and legs to be his hands and feet, then God can use any willing heart. And what I'm really, really excited about Pro-Life FinTech is we all together can actually make a bigger difference together, especially in the finance. So Pro-Life FinTech, we actually give 10% net of profits to nonprofit organizations that are biblically aligned with biblical beliefs. And so we're excited to imagine the vision of a little bit of restlessness after this interview for pastors, churches, schools, CFOs of Christian companies or Christian-owned companies to understand that, the devil's taking God's money in those larger banks and he's pimping it to do things that are contrary to our biblical beliefs. And to see the excitement of us coming together and Gen Z being very conscientious as well of what is really now going on, and that every decision, including your banking decision, matters. Pro-Life FinTech, our customers enjoy the extension of the FDIC insurance from our charter sponsor bank, Regent Bank. We're simply a digital extension online of Regent Bank, which is in Oklahoma, in Texas, and a couple states. And so we have personal checkings, savings, and money market accounts. And thanks to Regent Bank as well, we have an affiliate partnership as well for anyone that wants to open up at Regent Bank right now, their corporate account, their trust account, or nonprofit organizations. Because if you could just imagine this vision of being good stewards of God's wealth and moving that and making more impact. It's all about helping single mothers, single fathers, the human trafficked. It's not just helping the unborn. We see not just a remnant on the tip of the spear, but a movement all across our nation to say, yes, now I realize that my bank may be giving, to this and this and this. I don't want that. Let's all come together and be purpose-driven in our banking decisions. So we're really, really excited about this movement.
Yeah, I really want to drive that point home because, this came out of a situation where you were debanked, like many others were, for your beliefs, your values, and your position. And so Pro-Life FinTech was created in a response like, okay, we need a bank that it will not cancel people for their beliefs, will not cancel Christians. But the deeper thing that I want to drive home there is, like you said, a lot of these big banks that we use, even if you're not worried about being canceled, these bigger banks, like you said, are donating, siphoning money, like we're the investment for the bank, right? To these terrible organizations like Planned Parenthood that are chemically castrating children or killing them in the womb. So if we want to be proactively making sure we're not a part of that, we must do something about it. We must make sure we move our money to an organization that will not be a part of that.
Yeah, no, we're really excited about it. Go to prolifefintech.com, check out the video. Look at our board members who have extensive banking background as well. We're really excited to have you join us there. And let's all, as Christians, pray to the Lord today. What is it, God, first and foremost, in our own life? We all go through depression, anxiety, and challenges. And I think God just wants to remind us all that He's with us. And we're not here to play the victim card. And we know who the enemy is. We don't wage against flesh and blood, but to really intercede and make the decisions with the wisdom of God and be part of that creative pioneering solution for the generations to come. So thank you so much for having me here on your show as well. It's such an honor to be here, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much. But before I let you go, I really want to encourage people to check you out personally, too. If they haven't heard your story, you can still find his story on YouTube, a 60 Minutes special. And I actually watched that again last evening and was so touched by it because that was an older piece that they did. And you were talking about how they're like, well, can you even have kids? Like, I hate these reporters. Like, it's like so rude. And you're like, yeah, I hope to be a father. Like, I'm totally capable of doing that. You don't need arms and legs for that. And to see you now, like with your, not just a kid, 4 kids, you're like, yep, I'm gonna show you how good I am at that. And if we could show those kids together, it's so inspiring. It's so like, look at what the Lord can do. I just absolutely love your story. Don't you have something in the works as far as a new documentary coming out, or?
Yeah, so if you go to nickvteam.com, you can go see the trailer of our documentary film coming out. It's now coming out in the 25th of September 2026. It's going to be coming in all theaters thanks to Fathom Entertainment. We're really excited about this full-length feature, just a massive documentary of helping people understand the rawness of what it meant for me. My mom's in the documentary. My siblings are in the documentary. My wife's in the documentary. We want people to know that there are no limits as to what God can do if you give him your yes. And when you do have broken pieces, if you give them into the hands of God, he can do all things. And thank you for we do have a beautiful family, and pray for us. We're burdened with the complacent Christians out there who think we're okay, but we're biblically illiterate, and we also want to help the foster care and adoption. And so my wife and I, pray for us, we'll be also adopting a baby on top of the 4 beautiful kids that God has given us. And so we want people to know, dream big. We serve a big God, and don't be afraid, because God's on your side.
Oh, I just got chills when you said that. Thank you so much. I mean, and that's why you're a motivational speaker, because you can give people chills. That is good with that. Nick, look forward to having you back sometime. Keep us updated on the documentary. It's going to be a great thing to watch with your whole family. You're so inspiring and encouraging, and truly a gift from God. We're so blessed to have you. And obviously, folks, go to Pro-Life FinTech. Get signed up today. Thank you so much, Nick.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
All right, coming up, we'll have some sense and sensibility to share. But first, quick break, and we'll be right back.
The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysts are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts, and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver.
And sensibility. Another big Trump trade win. President Trump just announced a full and complete trade deal with South Korea set to boost U.S. exports like LNG by $100 billion. That's a whopper. He says it includes a 15% tariff on Seoul's goods, but keeps U.S. stuff tariff-free, aiming to strengthen our economy. Here is U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer on more.
Korea, as you know well, has always been very challenging on trade for the United States. We've had an agreement with them in past years, but our trade deficit with Korea has continued to be extensive. However, President Trump has raised the natural leverage of the U.S. market to really obtain some significant concessions from the Koreans. The first part of this is really an investment and purchase deal where the Koreans are going to essentially provide the president and the government, the U.S. government, with the ability to invest $350 billion in important industries like shipbuilding, which is very critical for us. They're also going to increase their energy purchases to $100 billion over the next few years. And then there's the trade piece of this, too, where non-tariff barriers we've had on agriculture and industrial goods for years will be eliminated as we work with our Korean partners. I mean, this is exactly the sweet spot that President Trump is hitting with trade partner after trade partner, and he's done it tonight with South Korea.
And since then, we've heard that he's had an ongoing conversation with the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, and moving that forward, he has extended the time limit so that they can work out some of those details. So lots of wins here. But despite all these wins and money flooding in from tariffs, too late Jerome Powell insists we will see inflation. Watch.
Well, the bottom line is that there's great news today because we had a blockbuster GDP report that really blew through expectations, gave us 3% growth, which, by the way, we delivered in President Trump's first term as well, but 3% income growth and inflation only at 2.1%. This is how supply-side economics works, that if you have a big increase in supply, then you get lots of growth and you don't get inflation. Now, the problem with the Fed when we were there in the first term was that they kept thinking that the Trump tax cuts were going to cause inflation and were hiking rates, so they were wrong about that. And I think that right now, if you look at central banks around the world, they have an eye on where inflation is around the world that's quite different from the Fed's. And the Fed still, as Chairman Powell kept saying today, is obsessed on the idea that tariffs are going to cause inflation, but they've been saying that really since January, and it keeps not happening. And in today's GDP release, as you mentioned, only 2.1% inflation. And again, the inflation numbers, the consumer price index, have surprised on the downside in the sense of been good numbers, low inflation numbers, 5 months in a row. And so at some point, the idea that the tariffs are going to cause an explosion in inflation is something that people are going to have to give up. And if an independent Federal Reserve is data-driven and looking at the data, then our expectation is that they're going to recognize what the ECB has already recognized, that it's okay, it's safe now to cut rates.
They think that if they say it enough, if they fearmonger enough, then we'll believe it, that inflation is here, even if it's not actually happening. Really sad state of affairs. Well, that is actually all of the time I have. Keep it locked in here on Lindell's White House coverage live. I'm Christy Lee, and that's your DC Dispatch.